Hello, everyone. Here we are for Worthiness Matters, day number 17 of our 30-day joy-based spirituality uh, workout. It's a workout. It's a workout. It's interesting doing these workouts because, by the way, today we're going to talk about three words that are related to joy-based spirituality. I think you're going to really enjoy. I'm going to ask you some questions that you're going to have an opportunity to embody your own answer. You're going to have an opportunity to embody your own experience. What's interesting about doing these joy based spirituality workouts, and also what's interesting about being a coach, I've been a coach for more than 20 years, is that, the other day someone said to me, "Oh my gosh, I made this decision based on principles, not consequences," because she basically told her boss she wanted both. She was given an option. Do you want to work less time or do you want to get an increase in your pay? She said, I want both. And she said, I never would have done that before because I would have been afraid of the consequences. But I based my answer immediately on of both on I based my answer on principles, not consequences. And what are those principles? Those principles are a year and a half, or almost a year. She's not a year and a half. She's what? Not even a year. 9 months in of really doing the 12 practices, of really connecting with other joy-based living members, of doing the workout of having a joy-based household. Like she's doing the workout of practicing the principles on a daily basis. And then during a moment where it counted, a moment of truth, a moment of worthiness, she stepped up to the plate in full. And that's what I want for you. But what's interesting in these workouts and with her, the reason I brought up that story is because during when somebody's doing a physical workout, they can look in the mirror within a few days or definitely within a few weeks, and they can see different cuts in their muscles and in their bodies, and they can see a physical difference. They can look in the mirror and see a physical difference. And when it comes to these inner oriented topics of spirituality, healing trauma with self connection, peak performance with authentic expression. When it comes to these topics, we don't get immediate feedback from the outside world, usually. And then sometimes when we do, people are like, "What's happened to you?" Because they don't want to see us change. And so, how do you know you're on the right track? And so, I want to commend every one of you who's doing the inner work. And I want you to know that the more you interact with other people who are doing this inner work, the stronger you're going to be and the stronger you're going to be quicker. And these are a lot of baby steps along the way, doing the 12 practices, listening to uh, other recommended readings that are related to these practices and to the joy based living trifecta. And that doing the practices themselves, just doing them, is an act of worthiness. It's an act of saying, I care about how I feel. I care about how at home I feel in my own body. I care about my own happiness. And that by doing that and by setting whatever structures I need in order to maintain integrity with myself, in order to be able to hear my own body for when I do feel comfortable or for what other options and opportunities I need in order to be my best. When you practice those questions on a regular basis, you get really strong. You get really strong. And then you end up creating great opportunities for yourself because you're used to feeling integrity in your own body and you're used to feeling good and at home in your own skin. So, cheering you on here, everybody who's doing these workouts, great job. Um, so y'all are familiar with the trifecta, right? We have healing trauma with self connection, we have spiritual connection, and we have a spiritual connection is with something greater, with a larger mystery of life, with a goodness of life. And we have peak performance, which is for the purposes of joy based living, is authentic self expression. Now, it's really interesting to talk about spirituality in springtime because there is so much life happening out there. In fact, this afternoon I have plans to go uh, visit some puppies and chicks and a goat that might be in labor and maybe even a horse. And seeing all the flowers carpeting the grass outside, everywhere on my lawn, everywhere. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, it's just beautiful. Um, I lived in Florida for most of my life, and there was like the scratchy crabgrass. You don't see flowers like this, like in springtime, where you actually have seasons. And I wanted to share 3 words around spiritual connection and give you the opportunity to practice, let's call it beehiving, BEEE, belongingness experienced as embodiment and emotional literacy. So I want you to practice embodying emotional literacy and embodiment. I want you to practice embodiment as I say these words. So these are words that are related to spiritual connection. And I'm going to say them, give you the opportunity to feel them, and then I will share my experience of them. Trust. When it comes to spirituality, what does trust feel like to you in your body? The second word is faith. When it comes to spiritual connection, what does faith feel like to you in your body? And the third word is grace. What does grace feel like to you in your body? Trust and faith and grace. So, one of my favorite storylines that showed up as a YouTube viral video in 2009 was with one of my favorite videos was of Susan Boyle when she first showed up at Britain's Got Talent and was totally heckled by the audience when she first appeared on the stage. Like everybody was rolling their eyes. And her desire to sing and to be a famous singer was so big. It was so beautiful. It was so full. And when she started singing, the moment the first notes came out of her mouth, everybody in the audience was like taken back completely. In that moment and leading up to that moment, she was practicing a tremendous amount of faith. She was very honest about what she was feeling. She was also very dedicated and devoted in her prayerfulness. She has a kind of mind that's more of a simple mind. She's not complex in her brain. She's more simple. And she needs boundaries and protection because of that. And so, she was caretaking her mom for a while. Her mom was caretaking her as well. Big leap of faith to step out into the public eye and say, I'm just going to show up. Now, she was not relying on her personality. She was relying on her faith. And it gave her a huge amount of strength. And I love that story. And watching her fed me and listening to her talk about her dreams and possibilities. It gave everybody a sense of hope that anything is possible. Listening to her sing a song that was so painful. I dreamed a dream of time gone by. I dreamed a dream. How sad. It's such a sad song. But you could feel her truth of the experience as she sang it. And that's what made it powerful. And so, faith. Let's talk about trust. Trust. Trusting life, trusting the process. One of the things that gives me a sense of trust is when I see chicks being born, which they're hatching right now, so I can't wait to go see them. Or I see like a flamingo because they're so weird that I know that some kind of intelligent life created a flamingo, and therefore some intelligent life created me. And so that gives me a sense of trust in something bigger than me. And so though and when I meditate and I unfold myself into infinite love and I surrender to that energy, there's such a feeling of at home in the whole universe that it keeps me wanting to go back to meditation. I like the feeling of integrity. I like the feeling of coherence because with those feelings, I not only do I feel good, but I make better decisions throughout all the areas of my life because I'm acclimated to feeling good on the inside. And that sense of trust seems to be one that um, i- trust trust is only given freely by little babies, I think. Other than that, it requires a relationship and it requires time and it requires willingness to show up in ways that show evidence of that trust over time. Um, what does trust feel like for you when it comes to the universe? I think of surfers surfing on the water, trusting that water is going to behave the way it's supposed to behave and that it's not going to act like something that's not water. Um, so, what does trust feel like for you when it comes to your spiritual connection? And then there's grace. That's interesting. On an embodied level, my shoulders just dropped, and I noticed that when I said the word grace. Notice what grace feels like for you on an embodied level. Grace to me is something wonderful happening, or good happening, or different happening in a positive direction unexpectedly. That is a very clunky definition of grace because grace is a feeling on the inside of a recognition of something unfolding more beautifully than I expected it to, or just unfolding beautifully. Now, that's my experience using clunky words. So please bask in your own feeling of being in the inquiry. What does grace feel like to me on an embodied level? Now, the beauty of this kind of inquiry is that you don't have to answer it. You can simply be with these words, trust and faith and grace, in the realm of spiritual connection, and to simply be with the open ended question, what do these words feel like in my body? What do these mean for me in my body? And keep taking yourself back to your body because that's where your greatest truth is going to emerge, is from your body. And if you find yourself resting inside of one of the words, let yourself rest. See what shows up in your imagination. If you have a joy based living planner and you have some intuitions show up, take notes in your planner. You're worthy of spiritual connection. You're worthy of felt sensations of trust and faith and grace. And I wish these for you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.